Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, for anyone who doesn't know, my name's Vicki Marie. I'm in mainland Spain. It is 2 minutes past 11, Friday morning, 1st of November. White rabbits. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to talk about the Delphi case, the horrible, vicious murder of these two children, Libby and Abbi. Vicious, horrible murder. Justice has been a long time coming because this murder happened on February the 14th, Valentine's Day, on 2017 in Delphi in Indiana in the United States. And the trial is currently going on. It took a long time to find who allegedly is responsible for this case, which of course is Richard Allen. And we're going to have a look at some photos of him in a bit. His trial is ongoing. The state has just rested, and the defense has started in the trial. There's a lot of consternation from many people. Is there enough evidence to convict Richard? Well, time will tell. Once the defense have presented their evidence, then we'll get a verdict. Now, of course, we don't know everything that's happened in the courtroom because this case has been held. It's not been public. The judge decided it shouldn't be made public. The judge has come up with a lot of criticism as well. This is Judge Fran Gull, I think her name is. A lot of people have been very critical of Fran. But, I suppose that's what it's like being a judge. You're going to get criticism from one side or another. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What have the state given enough evidence? Is Richard Allen guilty? Lots of people think he isn't. I personally don't understand why they don't think he is, but I'm just giving two sides of the story. Lots of people think it wasn't him. There's not enough evidence to convict him, despite him confessing 61 times to the murders. But anyway, we're going to talk about all that. So in the meantime, what we're going to do? We're going to chat. Let's chat. Okay, so let's go with this. So as I say, with this case, we're going back a while. We're going back to 2017 when this happened, when these two poor girls, 14 years old, they had a day off school, and fatefully, I expect their parents wish every day that they hadn't gone. They told them they couldn't go or made up some reason why they couldn't go. Because these two girls, Libby and Abbi, they decided to spend their day off school, go for a hike on, is it the Monon Bridge or something? It's a funny old name. It's got the Monon High Bridge Trail, which is part of the Delphi historic trails. And behind me here, you can see this is the bridge. See how high it is. I still don't really understand why people think I couldn't even walk across that bridge. I would have to literally hang on to the sides because I get vertigo. So, it's just the sheer drop at the side. I can't believe that's been allowed, really. to stay like that for so long without handrails or whatever. Surely that's an absolute death trap. People could fall off it, throw themselves off it. Just honestly, when I was gasped when I saw that. I could not believe that handrails hadn't been put. Well, I believe they may have been now, but anyway. So in the background there behind me, you can see one of the girls, Abbi. That was her last snapshot photo, walking along that bridge. Then there was her friend Libby took some video of a man, a bridge guy, he's become known as, walking along the bridge towards them. There's, I mean, you know, it's brilliant what Libby did. I mean, Libby died, but she may have helped to catch her own killer, because she took this video of bridge guy. We've been allowed to see a little bit of it, him walking towards them, and hear him saying down the hill. Those iconic words, isn't it? It's like down the hill. But we've not been allowed to listen to the rest or watch the rest of that video, though it has been presented in court. And I'm going to talk about it today, what people are saying, other things that were on that video, possibly. But of course, because it was played in court, but nobody can, you know, we can't go back and look over the video. People hear different things, don't we? So there's been slightly conflicting, people who are actually in the courtroom taking notes, there's been slightly conflicting sort of things about what was actually said in that video. Some people are complaining it's been over enhanced. And what has truly amazed me in this case, now I know everyone's innocent till proven guilty, and so it should be, but there seems to be a massive sort of, despite the fact that this man admitted that he was there on the day, a bullet from his gun was found near the girls' bodies. He's confessed to this murder 60 odd times, not only to investigators, but to his psychologist, to his wife. You know, in fact, his wife in the end told him to stop talking because he was confessing to it. He's been trying to confess to it so many times, and his lawyer and his wife, etc., are saying to him, no, you didn't do it. And he's going, but I did do it. And they're like, no, you didn't. You know, well, maybe he did. Maybe he wants to confess, save his soul. He needs to be honest. This guy's going to really struggle to save his soul if he is guilty. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about, all the different things. The main problem that the state has got in proving that Richard Allen did this is there is no DNA. And everybody's making a big thing about this. No DNA at the scene, which does seem strange, doesn't it? But of course, I think he had put the girls in the creek. I think he had maybe washed off DNA or whatever. But anyway, there is no DNA. That's what I'm trying to say. There was a little bit of DNA from, because Abbi was wearing a hoodie that Libby's sister had given her to wear because she didn't have a jacket with her. And there was a bit of DNA on there, I think either from Libby's sister or from someone from Libby's family. So people are making a big issue about that. But there was no other DNA. Well, somebody did this to these girls. You know, these girls did not slit their own throats. You know, that was the brutal way that they were murdered. So why is there no DNA whatsoever? So it suggests to me that there's been some DNA, because it's not, if it wasn't Richard Allen, then it was someone else. Where's their DNA? Why is there no DNA? Strange, isn't it, really? So it must have been washed off, maybe. Anyway, just a thought. But yeah, there's a massive sort of, why are people, it's like people are trying to set, some people are so keen to sort of protect Richard Allen, which he should be protected if he's innocent, of course. But all the evidence against him, to me, is overwhelming. And I think he is a monster. I do think there is a lot of evidence against him. But anyway, that's what's missing is the DNA, of course. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to say hello to you all, and then we'll get on with it, and you'll let me know your thoughts. I'm sure there's some of you out there maybe that believe he's guilty, and some that believe he's innocent, or some that just feel it hasn't been, proven enough. Hi, David. Hi, Darren. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Quizzical. Hi, Moonbeam. I agree, Quizzical, with what you're saying. But, we've got to take all the accounts, haven't we? I did not notice, Kelly. Gosh, it just seems to me an absolute death trap, that bridge. I think you can see it very clearly there, because normally probably when we see this picture, we look at Abbi, obviously, but because it's a background picture, you can see at the side here how high it is. I literally would have to crawl across that bridge. Even just looking at it. Right, sorry. I think I'm going to just have to put the dog in the bathroom because she's going to be noisy, aren't you? So yeah, because I've got vertigo, so just even looking at that makes me go dizzy. So for me to actually walk across it without any handrails or anything, just would be impossible for me. I'd have to go on it on my hands and knees if I went on it at all. Hi, Tonka. Hi, Annie. Yeah. So this is, let's see what we've got to. So where am I going to start with this? Gosh, there's so much information. Right, let's start by, because for a long time, there were no developments in this case. And then how this case has ended up coming to trial is purely by chance, really, in a way, because, let's read this article. So for years, the Delphi double murder case went cold. Then a volunteer found a file with an interesting piece of information. So this was a volunteer, a police volunteer. So for years after, 2 teenage girls were killed and their bodies left along an Indiana trail, Richard Allen's name sat unnoticed in a box with thousands of other tips about the mystery until it was rediscovered by chance. Stashed in a box of tips from the public, Allen's note said he saw 3 girls as he walked along the Monon High Bridge trail between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. on February the 13th. Oh, so it was the day before Valentine's Day. Their bodies were found on Valentine's Day. So in September 2022, as volunteer receptionist Kathy Shank filed the tip in an online database, she realised that the time Allen said he was on the trail matched the time the girls were thought to have gone missing. So she submitted the tip to the detective in charge of the investigation because she thought it was worth looking into. And this is what she testified last week at his trial. So the Carroll County Sheriff, Tony Liggett, said Allen got lost in the cracks. How do you get lost in the cracks when it's a murder investigation? Double murder investigation. The suspect never left the small town working at a local CVS pharmacy until he was arrested. Now, he had actually phoned up himself because when the police released the still of him walking on the bridge, well, of some bridge guy walking on the bridge, who I think is, I'm going to show you in a minute why I'm 100% certain this is the bridge guy is him. When they first of all, the police did not release any video. They just released a still photo of this guy walking on the bridge. And that's when Richard Allen got in touch with the police. Now, he probably shit himself, to be honest. Sorry about the French. When he saw that he wouldn't have known that there was any picture of him or any video of him. And when he saw that, he probably panicked. So he contacted the police. That's when he contacted the police and said he actually was there. And they interviewed him, and then he was cleared. Apparently, cleared was written on his file or whatever. So how he was cleared, I have no idea. But anyway, there's big mistakes the police have made here. So the revelation about the tip box is one of the many facts surfacing in what is known as the Delphi murder case. Many details of the case, including how exactly the girls died, have remained unknown to the public for years. In December 2022, a judge issued a gag order to stop attorneys, law enforcement officials, court personnel, the coroner and the girls' relatives from making public comments on the case. So yeah, nothing came out apart from that photo of him on the bridge. Then came out the voice like down the hill, but the whole video has never been released. It was played at the trial, but we can't see it yet. I mean, one day I suppose if he's found guilty, it will be released at some point, the whole video. But it was played at the trial, but it can't be released. And of course, the trial is not being publicised. So yeah, with the trial underway, more of the stories becoming to come to light, and here's what we've learned. So this is what we learned in the first couple of weeks of the trial. Both girls were killed by cuts to the neck, so they both had their throats slashed, poor things. And they seemed to come from a serrated edge, although it could not be established exactly what instruments were used to make the cuts. But they did seem to think they were done by a box cutter. A box cutter is like a Stanley knife. Hi, Wesley. Hi, Misty. So Wesley's managed to get here on time. So, where am I? So yeah, we've learned. So a box cutter is like a Stanley knife, and of course, you use a Stanley knife a lot in the job he had at the CVS, which I think the CVS is like. I don't think we don't have them in the UK. I don't think we have them in the local CVS pharmacy. What's the CVS? Right, I need to find out what CVS pharmacy is. Huh? What is the meaning of CVS? Oh, a customer value store. So CVS Pharmacy is an American retail corporation, a subsidiary of CVS Health, originally named the Consumer Value Stores. What does it do? So it's a pharmacy, but is it like Boots type thing? Yes, only in the US. So that's why I didn't know where it was, but I don't know, what does a CVS... What does a CVS pharmacy do? But is it like a Boots type? Anyway, I don't know. I presume it is. CVS sells prescription drugs and a wide assortment of general merchandise, including over-the-counter drugs, beauty products and cosmetics, film and photo. So yeah, because it sounds just like Boots, or what we have as Boots in the UK. Don't really have anything like it in Spain, like that, because in Spain you're only allowed to do certain things in each different. It's probably like a parafarmacia in Spain. They do a bit, but they don't do photos and stuff like that. In Spain, different shops can only do certain things. You can't just have, like, for example, you go to the supermarket in Spain, you can't buy ibuprofen or aspirin or whatever or anything like that. That the supermarkets, you're only allowed to buy certain things. Other shops, you're only allowed to buy certain things. It's all very separated in Spain. So definitely in Spain, we haven't got anything like it. But in the UK, I suppose it's like Boots, is it? So yeah, at some point, the family did go in there to have some photos and posters duplicated, printed out, and he gave them the service free. It's really quite creepy to think about it now, isn't it? The family of the two girls that allegedly he has killed, going in there and him, printing off the things and then saying to them, "Oh, it's all right, don't have to pay." Anyway, so yeah, that's where he worked. And before that, he worked at Walmart. So Abbi had one 7-inch long wound on the side of her neck. Libby had 4 or 5 wounds on her neck, and the 3 main blood vessels in her neck were cut. 14 images from the girls' autopsies were shown in court. Family members cried, and other members of the audience were visibly shaken. Neither of the victims' bodies showed any signs of sex assault or defensive wounds. But the other curious thing, of course, is that Abbi's body was fully clothed, but not in her clothes, in Libby's clothes, whereas Libby was discovered nude, and Abbi's t-shirt, jeans and jacket were discovered in the nearby river. I do think that's how the DNA was removed, maybe by putting everything in the river. Anyway, more than 50 photos of the crime scene were shown in court, sparking emotional reactions. Then another thing was that there was an unspent bullet. This is the only really link to Richard Allen actually at the crime scene, because don't forget, it was years before he was arrested, so he no longer had the phone. So didn't he have 21 devices or something? He had 21 devices in his home when they searched it, but he didn't still have the phone he was using at the time these girls died. They've never been able to find that phone. So the only way that they've been able to actually physically link him to the crime scene, which you could argue is he could have lost that bullet there, 3 weeks before or whatever. Doesn't mean say he was there at that particular time, but they found an unspent bullet between the 2 girls' bodies, and investigators say this comes from Richard Allen's gun. So it matched a pistol seized from Allen's home, and she matched the cartridge to the pistol through the quality and quantity of marks on the cartridge. Of course, the defence is trying to cast doubt on that, but I expect it was from his gun, but then how, they've still got to prove that it was left there on that day. So that pistol was one of several weapons that were found in his home in 2022. And they also discovered multiple knives and ammunition. And anyway, then he was arrested. And while he was arrested, he made a series of confessions. He made a lot of confessions to a lot of different people. So I know people do sometimes make false confessions. But I was listening to Gray Hughes Investigates the other night, and he made an interesting point, because normally false confessions, what was he saying? He's saying that false confessions normally happen first. So somebody will make a false confession. So someone, whenever they always get these nutters that come out of the woodwork, don't you, when there's like high profile crimes, like with Jean-Benet Ramsey, or, you always get someone to come, yes, I did it. And normally the confession comes first, and then the police arrest them or investigate it, and they find there's no corroborating evidence, so they realise it's a false confession. The difference with Richard Allen is he was arrested first, then he's made a false confession. Whereas usually once someone's arrested and, the lawyers, they've lawyered up, they don't make false confessions then. False confessions normally happen first, then an investigation, not an investigation and then a false confession. But anyway, just a point. Let's just have a look at this. Sorry, I got put up with the advert, I'm afraid.
It is this video that turned this case on its head nationally. Abigail Williams and Liberty German were on this bridge in February 2017. One of their cell phones actually took the video of this man that was on the bridge also. But is it the defendant, Richard Allen? It's believed that a short time later, they were murdered. Down the hill the next day, their bodies were found. What was the motive of these murders? Is there DNA at the scene that actually is the defendant's, Richard Allen's? Richard Allen admits he was at the Monon Trails that day, but he says, I didn't do this. Delphi, very small community, less than 3,000 people. Everybody knew who he was. After he was arrested, prosecutors say in jail, he confessed over 60 times. The defense says, wait a minute. He was in solitary confinement for a long time. He started wetting his legal documents and eating them. And then he started confessing. This is not trustworthy. During jury selection, there was a potential bombshell from the defense. They said that there was hair in the hand of one of the victims, and it is not Richard Allen's.
Yeah. Now, personally, I think he's just pretending to be loopy. This man is very clever. He's like a chameleon as well. His appearance, how it's changed. Did you see his appearance in that? Let's just have a look at that again. To me, he's just pretending to be crazy. Look at him, like some little, oh God, he's going to make the advert again. It's like some little frightened rabbit, like he's lost all his weight. He's changed. We're going to have a look in a minute at the chameleon, like Richard Allen. Now he's changed his appearance so often.
It is this video that turned this case on its head nationally. Abigail Williams.
To me, it looks exactly like him. He's got them fat cheeks. It's the cheeks that give him away. Not anymore, he hasn't, because he's lost loads of weight and he's gone almost gaunt now. That's deliberate, in my opinion, of how he's tried to change his appearance. Just look at the cheeks on this guy. Big fat cheeks. He's got these big hamster cheeks. You know, when hamsters put their food in their cheeks and they swell up. That's what he looks like to me. And this, to me, that looks just exactly like him.
It is this video that turned this case on its head nationally. Abigail Williams and Liberty German were on this bridge in February 2017. One of their cell phones.
Yeah, that bridge, look at it. What, why would someone want to go over that? Look, this bridge is terrifying, I think, honestly.
One of their cell phones actually took the video of this man that was on the bridge also. But is it the defendant, Richard Allen?
Yeah.
It's believed that a short time later, they were murdered. Down the hill the next day, their bodies were found. What was the motive of these murders? Is there DNA at the scene that actually is the defendant's, Richard Allen's?
No.
Richard Allen admits he was at the Monon Trails that day, but he says, I did.
Look at him now. You know, he's like this little frail. He wasn't like that before. He wasn't a little frail. I mean, he's not tall. You know, you can't change your height, can you? But he's changed the rest of his opinion, appearance. He's changed it deliberately, in my view.
Didn't do this. Delphi, very small community, less than 3,000 people. Everybody knew who he was. After he was arrested, prosecutors say in jail, he confessed over 60 times.
He reminds me of the Golden State Killer. I don't know if you remember that case. You know, and he was a serial killer that got away with it for years, and he was finally caught by DNA, familial DNA, and he was caught. And when they took him into court, he was a little frail old man in a wheelchair, like, oh God, poor me, you know, blah de blah. And then when they took some CCTV of him in his cell, he was like cleaning his cell. He jumped up on the bunk and he was looking out the window. He wasn't a little old frail man at all. He was old, but certainly wasn't frail. That's this man. And just looking at his eyes now, this is my opinion. I am as near as convinced as you can be. They do have the right man. I just hope to God that, whatever the jury has seen, the other things they've seen that we haven't seen as well and listened to, that that justice is served, because he's got those eyes looking at me. I feel like he looks angry.
The defense says, wait a minute. He was in solitary confinement for a long time. He started wetting his legal documents and eating them. And then he started confessing. This is not trustworthy. During jury selection, there was a potential bombshell from the defense. They said that there was hair in the hand of one of the victims, and it is not Richard Allen's.
Now, the thing is, before the lawyers got involved and his wife and everyone, he was trying to confess. He's been trying to confess for ages. He's been saying sorry, trying to confess. And then it's like his lawyers, I used to teach Spanish to a defense lawyer, an English one. And they said, you never tell people to plead guilty. You plead guilty in the last minute when you can see which way it's going, and maybe you want a plea deal or whatever. But your clients, you always tell them to plead not guilty in murder charges. That's just the way it is. Hi, Burton. Hi, BF. Yeah, I think his eyes say a lot, don't you? His eyes say an awful lot. Now, I want to show you that, look at this chameleon. So I'll put some of his pictures together. Now, so this is when he was arrested. This is one of the photo fit pictures that confuse people, because like on this photo fit picture, they're so different. Those two are different. I don't know why this one's got a cap on. But what have they all got in common? These big fat cheeks. Look at that. Look at the cheek there. That's his cheek. His hamster cheeks. Also his lips. Same with this one, still got the fat cheeks. It might look nothing like the two photo fits look nothing alike, do they? But one thing all those pictures have got in common, except when he loses all that weight and he goes gaunt. You know, this is sort of in the middle, this one. But this is him before with his fat cheeks. The photo fits have got the fat cheeks. This one's got the fat cheeks. The bloody bridge guy's got fat cheeks. And then he starts losing weight, changes his appearance. And now suddenly he's got, you know, you can define his cheekbone now. You couldn't before because he's lost so much weight here. But one thing that hasn't changed are those bloody Manson lamps, you know, the eyes. The eyes have not changed. You know, and even on the photo fits, they're cold eyes, aren't they? They're creepy eyes. So, yeah, he's lost weight. He's changed his hair. It's been shorter. It's been longer. It's been this. It's been that. But you can't change the shape of his face. You know, initially he's changed it now because he's lost all this weight. Now he's got hollow cheekbones. But he didn't then. Look at that. He looks like he's got a load of hamster food in them cheeks. You know, he's got a hamster face. So anyway, that's my opinion and I'm sticking to it. And I appreciate other people still, for some unknown reason, think he's innocent. And I think his confessions, I think he was genuinely trying to confess because he's suicidal. He's admitted that he's been suicidal. He's been thinking about taking his own life for ages with his gun. That's probably why he was there. You know, I bet he goes out to that place. Probably loads of times he's been out to that place and considered taking his own life. And unfortunately for Abbi and Libby, they were just there that day. And do you know, there's another young girl that walked past him. She's lucky that he didn't pick. I don't know why I didn't pick her because she was on her own. But I think it's just all the circumstances all fell together for him with Abbi and Libby. And personally, I think he was just, you know, maybe he's just wanting to go out on one final thing. Maybe he was planning on killing himself. He did admit that he took his gun out there. He admitted that he was fiddling around with the gun. And maybe, you know, he meant to kill himself. And maybe that was the bullet that was meant for him. Who knows? Nobody knows what's going on in Richard Allen's mind. But personally, I think you can see that they're all the same guy. Now, as far as the identikit pictures are concerned, apart from the fat cheeks and the eyes, they don't look loads like him. But we've got to look at the Rachel Marin photo kit. Look nothing like Victor, her alleged murderer. Well, that we know really that he is the killer because there's DNA with it as far as he's concerned. So, of course, the absence of DNA makes it much more difficult, especially in this day and age when probably the jury are expecting DNA, aren't they? And the lack of DNA, it makes it harder. It does make it more difficult. So, anyway. Thank you, Quizzical Girl. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super sticker. That's very appreciated. These are the worst eyes here. I mean, he was in social confinement, solitary confinement. And, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, yeah, well, he'd gone a bit doolally because he was in solitary confinement. But I don't think... He was probably in solitary confinement for his own safety, I would imagine. But I don't think that will have sent him doolally. This guy was doolally beforehand. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the reasons that I think. So thanks again, Quizzical. That's very kind. Thank you so much. Some of the reasons why I think it's him. Let's have a look at this one. Right. I need to just put some windows down. I've got there's so much to say because, I've been meaning to keep an update going of this, but for various reasons, as you know, I haven't been able to. Let's have a look at this. So this is something that's on Reddit. This is, again, the bridge guy with the big fat cheeks. Look, this is Richard Allen with a beanie hat on. It's just the shape of the face. He's got a big face. There he is with the beanie hat on. Look, playing pool with his big fat cheeks. His cheeks have given him away. And that's why he's lost so much weight, because he wanted to make himself look as least like this as possible for the trial. And he succeeded. Now, I did read that the jury have asked for photos of him, what he looked like when he was arrested. So they're not daft. The thing is, you know that if somebody's, been arrested 1 year and then the trial doesn't happen for another 2 years or whatever, they're not going to look the same, are they? They could have put on weight. What I've noticed is that people in prison, they either seem to put on weight or lose weight, don't they? They rarely look the same by the time it comes to their trial. They either look, some people seem to sort of prosper in prison, if you like, look better when it comes to their trial. And then other people don't. They're, like I say, either put on weight, lose weight. And what he's done is he's lost weight, and he's probably done it on purpose. Because the least he could look like what he looked like when he was arrested, the better, as far as he's concerned. Because he'd be sat there in court like some little, he's gone from that to sort of this little frail. He's a chameleon. All those could be different people, couldn't they? Not only the photo fits, but the actual photos of him. If you gave somebody all these photos, well, certainly this one looks completely different from this one. So does this. People wouldn't think necessarily that was even the same person. So it has deliberately tried to change his appearance, whatever anyone says. Why do people support him so much? I don't want him to be found guilty if he's not guilty. I wouldn't want anyone to be found guilty if they're not guilty. But to me, I just don't understand why people don't believe he's guilty. It's more likely that he is guilty than he isn't, in my eyes anyway. Right. Let me come back to the chat. Oh, look, Nightbot. Nightbot's come out and done. Oh, I've been messing about again with my. Hi, Michael. Hi, California. Hi, Lorna. Yeah, the hair, Lorna, was from Libby's sister, because the fleece or the hoodie that Abbi had on, as they were driving to the place, Abbi didn't have a jacket. So is it Kelsey? I think Libby's sister is called Kelsey. She had a jacket in her car and she gave it to Abbi to wear. That's where the hair came from. Oh, look, Nightbot's back again. Look at this. I'm so pleased with what I've managed to, hopefully, to get a Nightbot sorted. Hi, Joanne. Okay. So what else have I got? What else have I got? Gosh, so many things I want to show you. So talking of grey hues, are we going to look at him? What's this? Oh, that's the one we've just looked at. So I can put that one down. Yes, and just something I want to say. So although the prosecution has rested its case, they did try and show a video. I'll show you this on JLR's Twitter, because JLR has been following it as well, though I've got to say I haven't been watching his videos lately, but I just haven't had time. But so the state has rested, and you've got we need to keep into account. So although people are criticising the judge as if they're saying that the judge is all anti Richard Allen, look, he's even got them eyes on this picture, hasn't he? Look at them eyes. Oh my God, terrifying eyes. Imagine them being the last thing that you saw. Imagine them being things you saw at any time. Though his wife seems to think the sun shines out of his ass. But anyway, never mind. There you go. Love is blind. So they did try to admit a video of Richard Allen allegedly, and again allegedly because we haven't seen it, threatening guards at the jail, threatening to kill them, losing his temper and threatening to kill him. But the judge, the defense objected, and the judge upheld that. So they never got to see that video. Right, what's next? Right, now I want to talk about, well, let me just show you this video. But then I want to talk about the white van, because I think that's another key issue that proves Richard's guilt. Hang on, let me just refresh this page. Let's watch this video.
Defense began presenting its case today in the Delphi murders trial. But before the prosecution rested, they played phone calls that suspect Richard Allen made from jail. In calls to his wife and mother, he's heard confessing to the 2017 murders of Abbi Williams and Libby German multiple times. In the calls, Allen's wife pushes back, saying he didn't kill the girls.
Yeah, so he confessed to his wife, to his mum, but his wife is still insistent that he's innocent. So, it must be difficult when you're married to someone for a long time, like they've been married a long time, they've got a child together, an adult child now. It's difficult to accept that your husband, and they seem like really lovey-dovey, it's all, oh, love you, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to accept that this person that you've shared your life with for all that time could be a double murderer of children, isn't it? So, I do feel for his wife, but, you've got to be a bit sensible. Anyway. So what's the next thing? Sorry, I forget. So we're going to have a look at Gray Hughes, a bit of one of his videos now. So I just want to give Gray, I know Gray doesn't mind me using his videos as long as I give him credit. He's very kindly replied to an email I sent him a little while back about another video. So he doesn't mind me using them as long as I acknowledge. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend it's my video. This is Gray Hughes. Yeah, because is the death penalty on the table for Richard Allen? I'm not sure if they have the death penalty in Indiana. But yeah, at the end of the day, if he would have confessed, showed remorse, I mean, he's still going to prison for life, but he might, he just might have, like he said, might got something a little bit better, not the death penalty at any rate. But the defence are determined they're going to get him off. The other thing is, and I always go back to, I just could not be a defence attorney. So if he gets off, so if he's murdered, if these two girls, and he gets off because of, I don't know, some trumped up thing that the defence comes up with, nobody's ever going to be safe again. Do you really think he's not going to do it again? I don't know. Maybe he would. I mean, it does. The other thing that it does feel strange is that why has he waited all this time? People don't normally start so late in life to do these terrible things. But you know what? I think he's probably been fantasizing about it for ages. That's why he's been toying between suicide, his dark fantasies, he's probably all been going through his head, and then that day it all just fell into place and he just did it. That I think he's probably been thinking about that for a long, long time. He's Mr. Coca-Cola bottle, isn't he? I don't mean to say that, but there's, he's out there. He's working at the CVS. He used to work at Walmart. He's got, probably what you would call an ordinary life, whatever that is. He's lived in this small town. Only 3,000 people living in this town. I mean, it's tiny, isn't it? It's a bit like where I live now, but I've lived in cities and things. I think for someone who's only ever lived in those little villages and stuff like that, maybe he's always wanted to do more with his life, and he just never did. You feel like it's been sort of growing inside him. Now, I don't know what his computer searches were like, etc. Apparently, there were a lot of computer searches about the actual murders. But of course, we don't have his original phone that he had. Did he take pictures of those girls? Where is that phone? I mean, has he disposed of it in the sense of thrown it away that he'll never be able to get it back? Or has he hidden it somewhere? Is it hidden somewhere that hasn't been found yet? Because I think if he did have pictures of the girls on there, I think he'd be very reluctant to throw that phone away, because they're his trophies, aren't they? If he's taken pictures, they're his trophies, and I think he'd be very reluctant to throw that phone away forever. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. Just something that occurred to me, but anyway. It does make me laugh. Right, this is what I wanted to show you. So Gray has put together. So this is the bridge guy. Again, just looks like him with the fat cheeks. And what is superimposed on it there is a picture of Richard Allen, from years ago when before he was arrested. Or that's to show how stocky he was then. He's exactly the same size as the bridge guy. He wasn't so, he might be a little skinny thing now, but he wasn't then. He's very similar stature to the bridge guy. He is definitely the bridge guy, in my opinion. I can't see how anyone could think he isn't, and that says it again. So this is a picture of Richard Allen, before he lost all that weight. So I just wanted to show you that Gray put together. Let me see if there's anything else I want to show you. That was these are, let's just have a look at these actually, because these are like the police conferences from ages ago. Let's have a look at them. Come on, it's buffering. Oh, it's buffering. Oh, there you go. Oh, it doesn't want to play. No, it's buffering. It won't play. Well, just to let you know, these were the police conferences before he was arrested, when they released the still from the bridge and said that they, their investigation was taking a new direction and this, that and the other. But it's probably they were trying to lure somebody out. But they really, until they got that woman found that tip. Yeah, this isn't going to play now. Until the receptionist woman found that tip, their investigation was going nowhere, basically. It was going absolutely nowhere. Oh, you couldn't see that? Oh, hang on. Sorry. Let's have another look. Right, you should be able to see it now. Can you see it now? It's buffering, but you can see the two. So this is the bridge guy, and this is Richard Allen, the stature that he had before he lost all that weight. So he's very similar build to the bridge guy then. You can see it now. Yeah, look at the chat when I can, Lorna, but I can't always look at it. Sorry. Yeah, the video's not working. The video's buffering. It won't work now, but you can see the picture. What I really wanted to show you. What I really wanted to show you was this picture. This is the most... oh, hang on. It stopped buffering. Yeah. So this is Richard Allen before he was arrested. That's from one of it. That's been copied and pasted from one of his actual photos. This is the bridge guy. So you can see it's the same stature, isn't it? It's the same stature. Let's have a little listen to Gray then.
Just giving my support. Been subscribed for a while, but just recently became a member. Well, thank you of your channel. Thank you for bringing clarity to the case and giving true facts. Yeah. And you know what's weird about this case, everybody? I mean, beyond, just it's a simple case. It's not complicated. It's not, but it's been made really crazy by all these different things. But if you just think about it, you've got this guy who is, he's been living in the town for a while. He's got some mental problems. And then, let's just go with his own words. He goes over to his mom's house. He has, just hanging out. I guess he was there for 15 minutes because we all drive over to our mom's house 45 minutes away and hang out for 15 minutes. And then they're going to go eat lunch. He goes, nah, I'm going to go do something else. He goes and buys some beer. And, he's probably had all these urges. Apparently, he, according to him, he assaulted his own daughter.
Yeah, according to himself, he assaulted his own daughter. He's been having urges for ages. So he took some beer. He had some beer with him. He's probably, I wonder if he went there to maybe think about ending it all. You know, I bet he's been there loads of times thinking about that. And then on this particular day, he saw Abbi and Libby and he thought, I'm going to make all my fantasies come true. He's obviously going off the grid somewhere in his head, you know, for whatever reason. He's having mental issues. Just going through the motions of life, working at the pharmacy or whatever. Just he was probably bored shitless with his life, and you know, in that little village and all these deep fantasies, etc. And then there he, to me, you know, looking at that, that is him. You know, I don't understand why people. Dear, stop. I don't understand why people don't see that it's him, personally. But anyway, right. So let's see if we can go to these these are old press conferences. They're just interesting to watch. Oh, it keeps buffering. It's one of them buffering days. Okay, let's look at something else while we're waiting for that. So, while he was being interviewed, so his first interview has been filmed, has been presented to the jury, and the video was watched in court. So, as I say, we can't see that, but maybe one day we'll get to see it. But he said this is where he was being interviewed for the very first time. And apparently the video lasted 1 hour and 20 minutes, so quite a long video. And some parts not pertaining to the investigation were redacted by agreement of the state and his defence. So, according to media observers, in the beginning he's engaging, cooperative and agreeable. But as the interview progresses, he becomes more cautious, and it dawns on him about 30 minutes in that the police are giving serious consideration to his involvement. So the police just said to him they're going back to the beginning of the case and suggested they're just trying to rule him out. He told them he served in the Army National Guard. He lived much of his life in Mexico, Indiana. He worked as a store manager at Walmart and believes he started at CVS in 2013. And when he was asked to so he'd only been working at CVS for 4 years. So he said he went to his mother's house in the morning. He remembered it was a warm day. He went home to get a jacket and walked on the trails. Why did he go home to get a jacket if it was a warm day? He estimated he left his mother's house around 11:15 and arrived on the trails around 12 p.m. to watch the fish. Who goes to watch the fish? He seemed confused about where he parked his car. And when he was asked about his route, he said the way that loops round. Then when asked if he would have taken another route, he didn't answer. He told his wife he was on the trails, but of course they haven't got that phone. So they can't check those messages. And after the murders, she mentioned that police were looking to talk to people who may have information. He went to the sheriff's office. That's what set up the tip that led to his interview. During his interview, he said he left the trail at 1:30, 1:45. He said there were 3 girls he passed while walking on the trail, and he said that there were no other vehicles where he parked. He went out to a platform on the Monon High Bridge to look at fish. I've been along the High Bridge when it was in better shape, he told them. So they asked him which car he drove. He said he normally drove a grey Ford 500, but he took a black car when he went out of town. Investigators believe he drove his black 2016 Ford Focus. And he said, I don't really remember seeing anyone else that day, he said, or if I did, they didn't jump out at me. He said he kept an eye on a stock ticker on his phone, and when he left, he said he went home to watch the stock market in order to try and get rich. He said he was wearing blue jeans, a Carhartt jacket, a black one and a blue one, but he thinks he wore the black one. He also said he was wearing a skull cap. And then they asked to see his phone. He asked how long they would need it, and he said he used Ting for cell phone service. He didn't think he still had his phone from 2017, and he believed his wife had recycled it. Oh, his wife recycled it, not him. Sounds like I'm going to be somebody's fall guy, he said after Mullin read his warrant to him. The conversation we're having, it seems like you think I might have done it. And he said he wouldn't let the investigators go through his car and house. I'm starting to feel like your main lead, he said, and Liggett assured him they were just crossing T's and dotting I's as they talked to people. And he said he wasn't impugning the integrity of the investigators, but he said, I'm not going to have police going through my house and stuff. I mean, I sort of get that. I mean, much as even whether you're a murderer or not, nobody really wants the police going through all their stuff, do they? Because everybody's got things, you know, I don't know, in their house, you know, just personal things that you wouldn't want the police sort of rooting through, would you? And probably most people have, I don't know, got some things on their computer that you wouldn't want someone to know that you looked at, maybe some image. I don't mean illegal images, just generally, it's your private life, isn't it? You know, so it's sort of, I do understand that. I do understand why you wouldn't want people to, go through his stuff, or police and people in general. So, but initially he gave the police the code to his phone, and then he had second thoughts, telling them, you know what, let me talk to my wife before we do anything. And he said he was no angel of a person. He added he was like everyone else. Maybe I don't want you looking at every website I visited, he said. And Liggett said, I don't want you thinking we're coming after you. And then Mullin said to him they wanted to search his home so they could rule him out. I had nothing to do with it, Alan responded. I don't want to be any more involved in it than I have to be. And then they said they wanted to check his car for biological fluids. And then they left, leaving Alan alone to look at his phone. He's probably forgotten what he's probably going through his phone thinking, God, what did I look at? What did I look at on my phone? And don't forget, this is not the phone that he had at the time of the murder. I think this is a shame that they can't access that, because that's obviously the phone that matters. He's got 21 devices, this guy. So when he returned, Mullin informed Alan they have video of his car going to the trails, and Mullin also revealed he had talked to Alan's wife and daughter and learned he had some issues about hurting himself, so he was suicidal. Now, something, again, coming to this, so they asked him then if he was the bridge guy, and he said, I've never met them, meaning the girls. And then he revealed that he had entertained suicidal thoughts before and was going to shoot himself at some point. It's not like I killed 2 girls and now I've got psychological problems, he said, of his mental health issues. I wonder if he'd gone that day to kill himself, and then he thought he would kill them, and maybe he meant to kill himself, but that bullet, because he said that he was messing with his gun, did he lose the bullet and he couldn't do it? Now, this is another strange thing. So Liggett showed him a photo of a black car and he said, "That's your car." And after showing him a photo of the bridge guy, Mullin said, "Is that you?" And Richard Allen said, "That is not me." Then he said, "If it's taken with the girl's phone, that is not me." So what does that mean? So if it wasn't taken with the girl's phone, it is him then? It's just that if it was taken with the girl's phone, it's not him. Doesn't he know if it's him or not? Whoever's phone it was taken with. That is definitely him. Sorry, definitely. Bridge guy is Richard Allen. He's wearing the same clothing. He's just told them what he was wearing. So what's he going to say? "No, that's not me. Look at the face. Look at these cheeks." To me, it's obvious it's him. I'm sorry, it is. I can't believe, it just amazes me that anyone could look at that and think it wasn't him. Anyone who'd seen him, as he was before he lost all that weight. Anyway, he then said, "We're all done here. Your attitude towards me has changed. I feel like I'm being interrogated." And then Mullin said, "You were out here to do this to the girls or to introduce the girls to someone." Mullin said, adding that bridge guy followed the girls to the end of the bridge and forced them down the hill. And he said, "You're not going to find anything to connect me to the murder, so I'm not worried about it. So arrest me or take me home." The video then cut out and returned, and he said, "Are you arresting me? Are you arresting me? You lost my trust. This is stupid. Now you're pissing me off. You're an asshole," directing the comment at Mullin. So then we get to see the real Richard. Now, I think if you were innocent, if you were innocent, what would you do? Would you say, "Oh yeah, no, go on, search the house"? But the thing is, I think if you were innocent, you would never have even got to that point, would you? That is it. Oh, so a few other things that came out from the video that was shown in court. So the bridge guy video that we've only seen a tiny little bit of, and we've only heard a tiny little bit of, was played in full at the trial. And some people are saying, but again, it's people are just, because there's no transcript and there's no video, we can't watch the video. We can only rely on what different people heard on the day in court. And people are saying that they heard Abbi say something like, "Is he Tia? Is he behind me, or is he still there?" Because apparently Libby was facing like the bridge guy, and Abbi was walking up towards Libby, and she had her back to the bridge guy. So Libby said, Abbi apparently is heard saying, "Is he still there?" or something like that. And then Libby apparently, again, depending on who said something about a gun. I mean, I think 100, he's come up there. He's took a gun out and he said, "Down the hill." Because why would those girls have gone down the hill unless they had to? If a strange man comes walking up to you and says to you, "Down the hill," you go, "Fuck off, I'm not going down the hill." I mean, you might not swear, but especially young girls, but they would run, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they run off? They could have outrun him easily because, they were young girls. So the reason that they even went down the hill in the first place, to me, seems obvious. He's brought a gun out of his pocket. Maybe he was planning on killing himself. Or maybe he was hoping that he would find someone. Anyway. Did I say hi, Popeye? I don't know if I said hello to you. It's all right, Lorna. I'm not. I don't know how to put the chat somewhere where I can see it when I'm, actually sort of talking, because I get into a sort of into one. But every now and again, I do come back. Oh, I'm loving Nightbot. Nightbot keeps coming up, asking to. That was the whole point of Nightbot. To just for it to come up, remind people to subscribe, see if they want to join, etc. Maybe sometimes people buy Ko-fis, etc. And it's working. It's working finally. Yeah, Quizzical. I saw that apparently he messed about with it. Did something with the gun. I think he dropped that bullet by accident. But anyway. Right, where am I going now? So, where I want to show you now, the Grey Hughes one was buffering and it won't play, so sorry, I can't show you any more of that. Put that down. I need to get my laptop. I was using it for something else. I need to put it back, because sometimes when I've got my laptop, then I can see the chat at the side as well. So let's have a look at this video. Oh, sorry. So I started saying about the white van. Now, this to me is very, very important. So while he was in one of his confessions, now bear in mind, in his confessions, he said exactly what he did to the girls. That he put the sticks over them. Now, there was a lot made of the sticks that were covering them. We're going to have a look at that in a minute, or an enactment of that. And about this Odinism crap and what have you. So he said that he'd started putting the sticks over the girls. And then he saw a white van. A white van went past and it spooked him. Now, only he knew that. Only he knew that. So then when the police find out that some guy did go past in a white van at the time that Richard Allen had said that. Now, only the killer would have seen the white van, known about the white van. So that to me says he's definitely. I know there's no DNA. That's the thing that there isn't in this case. But there's so much other evidence. And as I say, we haven't heard all of it, because some of it will be because the trial's not publicised. The jury will have seen more and heard more. They'll have heard the confessions in full, etc. So there might not be any DNA. But, people did used to be convicted without DNA. Before we had DNA, people were convicted without DNA. There's enough of the rest of the evidence, in my opinion, to say without a shadow of a doubt that this guy did it, in my opinion. And the other thing we've got to remember is it's not only the prosecution didn't want, there was something they didn't want shown, but the defense is very careful about what they want showing as well. The defense, people can say the prosecution is not a watertight case, but the defense is a shaky case as well. Now, it's only just started, the defense case, so we'll have to wait and see what they come out with. Are they going to come out with a cast iron alibi that he wasn't there and he couldn't possibly be there? I mean, what are they going to come out with? I can't think what the defense are going to come out with that's any different to what we know already, but you never know. Let's have a look at this video.
By murder's trial today.
That's right. Most of it had to do with evidence in the case that surrounds the deaths of the two teens, Abbi Williams and Libby German. Tonight, our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel joins us after he witnessed all of this unfolding today in the courthouse in Carroll County.
He's live tonight from Delphi. Bob, fill us in on what you witnessed.
Felicia and Ann, first let me tell you that just in the last hour, the state has rested its case. But before they did, the jury got to hear the most powerful evidence yet against Richard Allen. Hearing someone say he killed 2 girls in his own voice, as you can imagine, that would be a very powerful thing to hear. And that's exactly what the jury heard here on day 12.
These are the things that will convict Richard Allen. The photo of him on the bridge, to me, is definitely him. Apparently the voice is his, but also his own confessions, his own confessions. Him speaking, like he said, in his own voice, confessing to killing those 2 girls, crying about it, showing remorse about it. And then now his wife telling him to shut up. Now, I know you don't know till you're in that situation, but I'm thinking if that was my husband, I would just have to say to him, look, you just got to tell the truth, whatever it is. You've got to tell the truth. Now, she knew he'd had mental problems. Her and her daughter both said to the police that he'd had problems and he'd had suicidal ideation, etc. So she knew that he had mental problems. So instead of telling him to stop talking, I'm sorry, I couldn't have him in my house again. So as much as he might be my husband, the father of my daughter, and maybe I'd still love him inside or whatever, I don't know, all that crap. But I couldn't have him in my house again. So to me, it'd be just like, look, you've got to just tell the truth. You've got to tell the truth. The truth does set you free. It literally does. Because Richard Allen, he's going to hell one way or another. So best to tell the truth, and then he's got a chance in the next life. If he helps the family a little bit by telling them the truth about what happened to their daughters, at least he's going to save his soul a little bit. That's what I'd be saying to him. Tell the truth.
12 of evidence presented to the jury in the Delphi murders case. The state called Brian Harshman to testify. He's a state police officer who has monitored all 700 plus Richard Allen jailhouse phone calls over the past 2 years. He and the prosecutor chose 7 of those calls to play for the jury. In one of them, Allen called his wife and said, "I did it. I killed Abbi and Libby." His wife, Kathy, said, "No, you didn't." Richard said, "I did." She said, "No, you didn't."
I mean, what? So he says, "I killed Abbi and Libby," and she says, "No, you didn't." "I did." "No, you didn't." Come on, Kathy. Think about those girls.
Richard, "Yes, I did." Later, she says again, "No, you didn't." "Why would you say that?" Richard said, "What if I did? I think I did." Kathy tells her husband, "They're screwing with you. They're messing with your mind." Richard said, "I think I did." Kathy, "No, you didn't. Why would you say that?" Richard, again, "Because I think I did." That was in April of 2020.
He knows he did. Kathy, you know your own husband. You tell me when you looked at Bridger Guy, you didn't think that looks like him. God.
Then 5 weeks later, the jury got to hear another call that Richard made to his wife, Kathy. In that he said, "Honey?" She said, "Yes." Richard said, "I may have to spend the rest of my life here." Kathy started crying at that point. Richard said, "I don't understand. I just got to know everybody is still going to love me." He later,
"Everybody's still going to love me." Anyway, so he's only worried that everyone's still going to love him. Look, he's done it. He's confessed to doing it. This woman is in complete denial, and maybe that's I've seen it before with families of perpetrators. It's hard to believe, especially if it's if he would have been a right twonk all their married life. It wouldn't be so difficult for her to believe, would it? But often it is these people that just seem normal, good dads, or mums or whatever, and then you just don't know. How often have we said it? This is what killers look like. They're not like, weirdos who live, homeless or alcoholics or drug addicts, or, they're just normal people. I mean, he apparently has had a problem with alcohol, hasn't he? But he went out with beer that day. What was he taking beer with him to go and watch the fish on his own? I wonder if he was planning on doing something to himself that day, and then he got an opportunity that was too good to miss.
Said during the call, "It's true, honey." Kathy said, "No, it's not." He said, "It's true, honey." "No." Richard said, "I just hope you can still love me. If I get the electric chair." She said no and started crying again. Richard said, "Will you be there for me?" Kathy began crying louder, and Richard later says again, "It's okay, honey. I did it. I did it, baby."
How much more evidence do you need than a confession, a normal confession like that? So he's not being interrogated by the police. They're not putting pressure on him, not letting him sleep, and, not letting him eat until he confesses. Just a voluntary confession, calm, measured, voluntary confession to his wife. I did it, baby, honey. I mean, they're so loved up, these two. When you see the interactions between them, that's why she can't believe it, because they're all lovey-dovey. He's not some domestically violent twonk who she can't wait to see the back of. They're like in love. So she can't believe that he can do it. She's in complete denial. I don't know what his daughter thinks about it all. But yeah, that's what will convict him, that his confessions. And, all these crazy things that he did while he was in prison, people are saying, oh, the state, they treated him terrible, kept him in solitary confinement. Well, he was in solitary confinement because otherwise the other prisoners would probably kill him. That was for his own safety after killing two 14-year-old children, 13-year-old girls. Wouldn't be safe to be in the normal prison population. And then he was playing on it. He started trying to pretend to be mad. But he had mental health issues. But the mental health issues that he's had all his life, not caused by prison. He was already had mental health issues. That's why he murdered two little girls.
During the call, he remained calm and matter of fact. Harshman described Richard Allen's demeanor during the calls as calm, subdued, and solemn. And when prosecutor Nick McLeland asked Harshman if he recognized the voice of the bridge guy on the now famous Down the Hill video that Libby German captured on her cell phone just before the murders, Harshman said he did. He looked right at the defendant and said, "It's the voice of Richard Allen." The defense team did not want the prosecutor to play only the phone calls that the jury heard today. They told the judge that prosecutor Nick McLeland was cherry picking specific calls that did not give a full picture to the jury, and they asked the judge to order the prosecutor to play other calls as well. The judge denied that request, but during cross-examination, Brad Rosie snuck in information from those other calls where Richard Allen said he was innocent and was having mental health problems. He snuck those in despite repeated objections. The judge seemed frustrated at that point. She had a sidebar, and after that type of questioning stopped. The state tried to play a surprise video this afternoon, video that no one was expecting. In fact, many people did not even realize existed. We're going to tell you about that video coming up at 6. Emily Longnecker, she is still in the courtroom right now, and she will also be able to tell us who the first witness is as the defense now shares with the jury its side. Eagle 13 News, and Felicia, back to you.
So that video he's talking about, that's the one that I mentioned to you earlier, the video of him threatening to kill the police guards, etc., in the prison, the jail guards, but the judge refused to let them show that. I'm just going to see, let's see, I think I've more or less shown you everything that I wanted to show you. Oh no, so I wanted to show you, because I did in members like this week on Monday, I did a video about Delphi, and I was in my sort of free StreamYard then, and it doesn't record the video. I would have edited it and then released it publicly, but I couldn't. Anyway, so I'm going to show you some of the things that I did show in that, because that was only for members. Let's have a look. Walking up the bridge, one of the girls took a photo of him, and then you hear him saying down the hill,
on the bridge with them as they're seeing this.
There's the suspect.
Right, so look at this. I showed this. It's like this girl who's going to talk in a minute is Libby's sister, Kelsey, I think her name is. And we're going to watch, she's talking about this. Somebody has generated like an AI scene of how this would have been for the girls. So let's have a look.
Figure out who killed Abbi Williams and Libby German.
Tonight,
we're getting a new view of an unsolved crime 4 years after it shocked the city of Delphi. Police there are still trying to figure out who killed Abbi Williams and Libby German.
So this AI reenactment was made before Richard Allen was arrested. So just to make that clear.
Tonight, as our Rich Van Wyk explained, the girls' families are hoping that there's this new online video that can help lead investigators to their killer.
The real video of the suspected killer walking toward Libby and Abbi, transformed by three-dimensional augmented reality technology, gives a lifelike look to the nearly 4-year-old.
Personally, I think it looks a spit of him. I think that is him. But, you know, it's not. I understand why some people don't. So this is like an AI augmented reality video. But this is the real video of him walking up the
crime. Libby's older sister, Kelsey, calls it intense.
It was like you're standing on the bridge with them as they're seeing this.
There's the suspect approaching the girls. Libby's phone is out, taking the video with her best friend Abbi at her side.
It brought it really into perspective for me of what they were seeing. And just the person being there gave me a new perspective of what he looked like.
The original video, sketches of the suspect, a $225,000 reward, and
see, this is one of the big problems, is this sketch, which looks nothing like Richard Allen, really. And one of the witnesses, you know, it wasn't very helpful how she described the bridge guy. She said he was between 20 and 50. Now, between 20 and 50, it's not a big help, is it, really? You know, she's quite young, the girl, so to her, anyone's old, aren't they? Over 20, I suppose, because she's a teenager, I think. Now, do you think, like, although this looks absolutely nothing like him in a way, I think his cheeks look like him. Because he's on that original picture of him. Let's see if we can go back to that. See, he's got quite fat cheeks, hasn't he? He's got quite fat cheeks. Now, don't forget, this beard he grew later. He may not have had that beard. Oh, I'm going to share it. He may not have had that beard at the time. If he had, like, if he was clean shaven, personally, I think that does look like him a bit. Because he's got these fat cheeks. Oh, so anyway, let's just go back again a bit. He looks a bit like he's, because one of them said he had a mask on. He looks a bit like he's got a scarf pulled up over his nose there, or a balaclava or something. Or maybe he's just got his head down. I don't know. welcome, Alvin.
Perspective, it's
Sorry,
another
I realised
tool. It's
I've
another
got
source.
And say, wow, I really do.
So, yeah, Chum. Oh, the girls were found the next day, Chum, where they were found dead with their throats slit. Remember, I was saying earlier. So, yeah, you know, I have just, I did give like a little summary of the case, so you might need to rewind a bit to that. So, what this is the real video of the guy on the bridge, and then it's been simulated how it would have been for the girls to be there. Then he marched them off down the hill. You hear him saying, down the hill, down the hill. And then, you know, God knows what happened after that.
Know who this looks like.
The Delphi murders are among hundreds of unsolved crimes featured in the brand new Crime Door app. It's aimed at fans of true crimes. Before signing on to help create Crime Door, Paul Holes was a detective specializing in cold case investigations.
From my perspective, it's another tool. It's another source of information that could potentially give Kelsey, her family, Abby's family, an answer.
State police insist the case is far from cold. 2 investigators work it every day. They are still getting new leads.
I still have so much.
Oh, so this video must have been before this guy was arrested, isn't it? So yeah, he's been arrested now. His trial. We're in the second or third week of his trial. So yeah, it's all. But it was I think it was 7 years before he was arrested. It was a long time.
Much hope. I talked to an investigator the other day, and he told me to remember that they're never stopping. No matter what, they're going to keep fighting for us.
And Abbi and Libby.
Yeah, it's interesting that. Anyway, what we're going to look at tonight is, and he didn't have time to dress the other thing. He might have. So, sorry, I didn't give you a warning. I should have given you one. So this is how the girls were found. This is a reconstruction of how they were found. So Abbi was dressed, but in Libby's clothes. Libby was naked, and then they've got these branches on them, and this big log on Libby's arm for some reason. Maybe she was trying to do something, I don't know, and fight back, and he put that there. But yeah, there's another, got another picture somewhere, I think. Anyway, so yeah, somebody left these girls like this. You know, people will see what happens with the verdict. Well, we've got to listen to the defence first, but somebody left these girls like this. And if it wasn't Richard Allen, how could it have been anyone else? He was there on the bridge. He said he was wearing. So if he's not bridge guy, then somebody else had to be on the bridge wearing exactly the same clothes as him. You know, that he admitted that he'd worn. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It was definitely him on the bridge. In my opinion, it's definitely him that's done it. And I think they have got enough evidence. I don't think they've got enough evidence for it to go to the death penalty, maybe. I don't think the death penalty he will get the death penalty. You know, if he gets found guilty, then they have to do another sort of thing, don't they, to decide about the death penalty. I don't know about that, but I do think they've got, you know, because don't forget they'll have heard and seen more than we have. So, yeah, I don't know. How can we know? We don't know. Only time will tell. Time will tell. So let me just go back to this. This to me as well is what just convinces me of his guilt. Is his chameleon-like appearance. I mean, literally, you would not think that this person was this person, would you? You know, or this person. He's deliberately been changing his appearance. And, you know, innocent people don't do that. Now, look at that. The mouth there with the mouth here. His mouth is the same on all of those, you know, and the fat cheeks, as I say, and the weird eyes. So to me, that's him, but it's not up to me. It's up to the jury what they decide, and enough of them have to decide, don't they? So, you know, let's see what the defence has brought forward so far. Let's see. Right, we'll just watch one more. We'll watch this one more that's just talking about the defence resting. And then I'm going to go, but I will keep you updated on this, of course.
In the prosecution has rested in the Delphi murders trial, and the defense has called its first witness. Let's get right to WRTV's Rachel Wilkerson for the latest developments from Carroll County.
The defense has called its first witness as the prosecution has now rested its case in the Delphi murders trial. The prosecution called around 40 witnesses within the first 12 days of trial. Its last witness was Brian Harshman. Today, he testified that he monitored around 700 phone calls of Richard Allen and felt Allen's voice is that of the bridge guy. The bridge guy is the man seen on Libby's phone walking behind Abbi and is heard saying down the hill. That video was played again this morning. We also heard 8 recorded phone calls between Allen, his wife, and mother. Those conversations ranged from November of 2022 until June of 2023 while Allen was at Westville Correctional Facility. The state outlined Allen made incriminating statements. During those audio clips played in court, Allen told his wife he killed Abbi Williams and Libby German. His wife would say, "No, you didn't. Why would you say that? You're not well." Allen would then question himself and say, quote, "Maybe I did. I think I did," end quote. He expressed several times that he felt like he was losing his mind and wanted to kill himself. His wife could be heard crying in those calls and during court. The families of Abbi and Libby are also here. It has been a day full of testimony and several breaks, including if the judge would allow the state's last piece of evidence, which she did not. Again, the prosecution has rested and the state is now presenting its case. For more in-depth coverage, visit our website at WRTV.com. In Delphi, I'm Rachel Wilkerson, WRTV.
So that's where we are. That's where we are with this case. The prosecution rests. The prosecution has rested, or the state has rested. It's presented its case for better or worse. And now we're going to hear the defence and then we'll get verdict. I don't know how much the defence, you know, I don't know how long the defence presentations and that are going to last. But I will keep you updated. It's an interesting one, isn't it? But it's so, you must... You know, poor Libby and Abbi's family having to sit there day in, day out through this, and they do. You'd have to, wouldn't you? You know, it's like a torture. But how could you not sit there and hear all the evidence? It would be even harder, I think, hearing the defence claims and what have you, because you know, just I expect it'll be worse hearing the defence claims. But yeah, so thoughts, love goes out to them. Hopefully it'll be over soon and justice will be found for Abbi and Libby. I hope so. I really hope so. So, hi Tracy. Oh, Nightbot's really, Nightbot's one of the main chatters now. I'm really pleased that it's finally sorted. Anyway, so I'll be back very soon. I want to do an update on the Sarah Sharif trial as well over the weekend and see what else comes up through different cases. Thank you for watching, as always. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Oh, and thank you so much. Hang on. Let me just get the... Thank you, Quizzical, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you. Adios.